So for number 1, we are going to rotate the shape 180 degrees clockwise about the vertex Z.
Clockwise.
Clockwise is which way?
Right.
Clockwise means how the clock goes, this way. Okay? But it's not on the origin, is it? It's not on the origin. Oh, man. And so, what do we know, though? 180 degrees is how many, is what? It's 2 quadrants, and 180 degrees goes from 0 to 180. 180 is a straight line. It is a straight line. Okay? And so, if we are rotating at about point Z, does Z change? No, Z stays the same. So we're going to write Z prime right there. That one's easy.
Z prime is already wrote. You already got the little.
I know, something got, write Z prime anyway. It's supposed to say just straight up Z. Okay? It says we're going to rotate it about point Z. So I know that what we looked at on the screen was about the origin. This one, now they want us to use a different point. The same rules apply. That's why we're doing this part together. Okay? And we know 180 degrees clockwise is actually 180 degrees counterclockwise, right? It's halfway. So it doesn't matter which way you go. You do need to know, though, that it makes a straight line. And the same thing has to happen. It has to be the same distance from the point of rotation. Well, let's look at X. How far away is X from Z? How many spaces away is it? 4 spaces. And so, how far away on this straight line does X prime have to be?
4.
4 spaces away. It's the same distance. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that becomes X prime. And it's 180 degrees straight across. It's the same distance from the point. So we're doing exactly what we were just doing on the IXL side, only now we're not making a box from the origin because it's already part of the shape. Same rules apply. Questions about X prime? What about Y, though? What about Y? So, a little bit different than a reflection. Couldn't I do the same thing? Couldn't I do the same thing? Couldn't I say, oh, wait, it's 2 spaces over and 3 spaces up? Right? And so, if it's got to be 180, it's got to be what? It's got to be on this line somewhere. Got to be on this line somewhere because 180 is this far. Is it going to be 2 spaces and 3 down? Or 3 spaces? Well, this right here. If I go 3 spaces and 2, is that in line? Is that the right space? Is that straight down from it? No. So don't write that one. That one's wrong. It's going to be 2 spaces and 3 down. Is that straight across? Why, yes. Yes, it is. So it always has to be the same distance. And we could figure out how far that is by making a triangle, but why not just go 3 spaces and 2 spaces, right? And this one is called what? What's that one called? Y prime. What do I do with my points?
Connect them.
I connect the dots. What questions do you have? This one's the trickiest one, hands down. So I'm going to pause for a second. You give yourself a second to absorb it. We're not even done with this one yet. Okay.
We're not.
Yes. So for Y, it was 2 over and 3 up, right?
Yeah.
And so, but it had to be on a straight line. And so the only way for me to do the straight line is if the 2 and the 3 were this way. If I took this one and rotated it all the way down like that. Yes, yes. So it's the same distance away. It's still 2 and 3, and it's in a straight line. That's how I knew. That's a great question. Because that part of the transformations has not changed. We are still concerned with distance, but now we're turning it, rotating it the right amount of distance and in the right degrees. So instead of just sliding it a certain number of spaces or flipping it a certain number of spaces, now we have to do 2 things. Now we have to worry about direction, the number of degrees, and the distance. That's why this one's trickier, because there's multiple things going on. Questions about y prime? That was a great question. What do we do? We're not done with this. Why not? What do we forget?
Coordinates.
Gotta write the coordinates. And so, x prime, y prime, and z prime.
Z's the same.
And z, you're right, stays the same. Remember, coordinates have to have parentheses. So x prime, 6, -1. Y prime. Check my math. X prime is 6, -1. Y prime is 4, -4. Z prime, 2, -1. Am I correct?
I said no.
+2, down 1, -1, right? Yes, because they're the same.